Today we're going to be looking at Anthem. This time we're going to be focusing on the sound design. We're going to go through the engine, show you all the cool noises it can make. All right, so we're just going to start from the preset, the very first one that loads up. These are your oscillators. You have a mixer here. It's important you understand this mixer. So we've got the ability to take oscillator 1 out, which contains the sub. So if you add a sub in, you need to know about that, because if you take this out, no more sub. Oscillator 2. Oscillator 2 has some really cool warp modules that we'll look into. And then you've got some noise. You've got white noise and pink noise. Right now we're on white. And there's pink. So some cool things. Some of these things are already routed. So like, for example, the amp envelope will affect the noise module. So if we wanted to make like some sort of a hi-hat, we go over to white noise, choose a low sustain and a fast release. And if we wanted to get like crazy, I guess we could add some sort of wacky filter move to it with a really high resonance. If you really wanted to. But anyways, options, right? So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna get rid of this. White and pink noise are options though. Let's take a quick look at the oscillators. So you could go flat, up an octave, or down an octave. Let's give ourselves some sustain back. So filter envelope here. And let's bring the sustain up on the amp envelope. I really like how the lights show the current stage of the envelope. It's really, really nice. If you're not going to go for like the full graphic, the lights are surprisingly informative. Like, look at that. I'm also going to add some velocity sensitivity to the amp envelope. Okay, so we've got our low end. Let's go up an octave here since we have the sub on. We go down another octave, so 2 octaves down. If we bring in oscillator 2, we can give this outer knob is the fine control, the inner knob is the coarse control. Get some of those beautiful detuned bass style sounds here. Maybe bring the drive up on the filter. Maybe bring the resonance up. Yeah. Maybe we gave the LFO a bit of a job here. You could sync it with your DAW. So if you wanted it to match up with the tempo, it's maybe kind of fast. Go a bit slower. Choose a different shape. We could have a re-trigger with every note so that it's a little more predictable. Now, right now, if I hit 2 notes at the same time, these oscillators, you know, they kind of contend with each other, and it would be nice if it was just monophonic. So over here, we've got the ability to go to mono. So if I hit another note, it's no longer an issue. I don't accidentally ever hit 2 at the same time. We could go legato, and we could even add some glide in here. Maybe we make it a little bit more of a smooth motion, make it kind of slower. Reduce it. And we've got some different waveforms here. So for example, let's put some saws down. Triangle, well, I'm sorry, these are triangle shaped. And then we go over to the saw to a pulse. And let's just look at oscillator 2 for this. Yeah, and you can have it be controlled by the LFO or the filter envelope. And filter envelope's probably what you're going to want if you're going to modulate this. Maybe we give it a longer attack. Yeah. We'll get rid of this LFO for the moment. And something interesting while we're messing with this, kind of a cool timbre if we play like a low note. We'll go over to the resonance. There are 2 knobs here. One is resonance. The other one is growl, which I'm assuming is a more complex resonance chain. Or some aspect of the resonance. That's just high resonance. That's high high resonance with growl. If we add in some of the low end and send that through this chain. Maybe get rid of the sub for this, or put it up an octave at least. Options. Usually if you have high resonance, you don't want the highest drive, because you can get some of those cool sorts of textures, but then you got to really rein in the amount of depth you're giving yourself. So maybe reduce the mod from the filter envelope. Yeah, it's a whole balancing act. So let's go ahead and style this back. And anyways, the options here can be pretty interesting because we'll bring the resonance in the growl down. We have this sync option on this one. You see out here, we've got warp, we can modulate this, and we've got sync and ring modulation options. Sync can be really cool for adding a lot of texture. Pretty classic textures here. Maybe we move it up to a square. And maybe we let the LFO modulate it. And you can go down some fun routes. But anyways, that's what's going on here. We can also go for some ring modulation. Find some special values. So there's a lot to be had here. Messing with the modulation and getting the LFO and the interaction between the two oscillators to sit just right. There are certain settings that if you just find them, they can sound so cool. Let's take a look here at the middle here real quick. You have this sequencer. So you've got gate, pitch, and velocity, and each of these can have a certain number of steps. They call them lanes. So we have these lanes here. The lanes by default are linked up, but we could do something crazy. Like maybe we have the velocity follow a different pattern. Something like this. And the gate, yeah, we'll leave the other two alone. Maybe we'll give the first one an octave up. Oh, they are linked still. Let's unlink them. I just saw it too. I don't know why what the heck I was thinking. We'll have them do something like this. So the high note will hit every 4. They'll have a different velocity pattern though. And then the gate we'll just leave alone. Maybe we link up the filter event. Give it a little bit more depth here. And then on the effects, maybe we go for a spring reverb with a very short time. And I don't know what let's just try a tone with a low value. Then we get any shorter. Let's go for echo. Get a flanger style deal. For this, let's go ahead and change the pitch to do something a little more interesting. We'll go for 7, that's a perfect 5th up, and we'll go for 4, that's a major 3rd. We have some, okay, let's bring the feedback down, settle down. We've got mod effects here for phasers, flangers. So I'm using the echo basically as a flanger right now. But we have flangers built in that are a little easier to work with. We take the space effect off. So if you're looking for that, it's an option. You don't have to go the way I did. We could treat this more as a verb. We'll go for a hall verb with a very, well, as short as we can go, 0.6 seconds for a hall. And we'll bring this up. Maybe we make it minor. I'm tired of the major. So anyways, that's the sequencer. We do have some pitch modulation options. And it can be controlled by the LFO. LFO, we're at 200. So this is a frequency modulation as far as we can go with the pitch mod. But potential there for like growls, interesting steps and things. Control click to reset a knob. There is a nice chorus. Let's go ahead and let's take the mod effects off. Check out the chorus here. So that's without it. Maybe we'll go for multiple notes. Let's go ahead and bring on the chorus. Maybe dial back the detune. Maybe we go for a big detuned lead style thing. A little bit more on the glide, perhaps. Update the glide, maybe a bit shorter of a glide. Away you go. You can go down so many routes so quickly. So anyways, that's the effects. Voicing and stuff I don't want to get into too much. You got some like vibrato options, things like that. The mod wheel can be connected to things and automated and stuff, or just, you know, move the mod wheel. But that's the general architecture. It's deceivingly simple. There are a lot of options for sounds you can make with modulation. You saw a variety of sounds come out, and it's almost deceitful how when you look at these controls, you think there's only so many ways. If you want some examples of some more far out there sound design, maybe some techniques you can look at and study, I recommend checking out in the, I think it's in genre, yeah. Check out experimental. There's a whole bunch of weird stuff in here. All with these same controls. It's actually kind of fun, I think, to play some of these sounds and then go to the default. Maybe have two open and try to do it without looking and see if you can remake the preset. Because, you know, this is what you have to touch. There are a few menus in here, I guess, that can sort of hide things. But in general, it's pretty much right in front of you. Great way to learn synthesis and get better. If you have any questions about Anthem or you want to see it used a certain way, drop it down below. Maybe we'll make a video on it. Subscribe and hit that bell icon for future videos, and have a blessed day.